In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, looking at continued cold for the coming weeks ahead with multiple snowfall opportunities throughout the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, even some of the Southeast on these models as well. It's going to be an action-packed one. And the first thing we're looking at here is the previous 24 hours of snowfall, so we can kind of go over the totals from that minor to moderate snow system. And a lot of these lighter blues is where we're looking at 1, 2, 3 inches of snowfall. And we saw areas like Richmond, Virginia, Charlottesville, Lynchburg, Beckley up there in West Virginia, Pikeville in Kentucky, areas like that saw those more minor amounts. But throughout a lot of that Appalachian Mountain Range, the Shenandoah Valley, areas like Roanoke and Mountainous, Western Virginia, not West Virginia, but also the eastern mountains of West Virginia as well. That gets confusing. We did see some areas pick up 4 to 6 inches of snowfall, which is a lot around the lines of what I was thinking. This is a little bit further to the north than I was originally anticipating, but it did end up being about the intensity that we suspected. And I did hear a lot of people in southern Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, southern Pennsylvania got some surprise flakes and even a dusting this morning. So let us know if you got in on some of that. Now, we did just have a contest in our Discord server for this storm. And here's the leaderboard on screen. You can see I'm in like 21st place or something. So I have a long way to go, but there is some of you at the top, and congratulations to you guys that are doing so good in that. If you would like to join our server, be in on the discussion as well. We talk daily all the time, super active, but we're also doing these contests year long for the winter, and we're doing a severe weather one as well this year coming up in 2026, so that starts January 1st. Go ahead and join in the description and pinned comment down below, as well as the QR code on screen to get in on some of this action. It's been super fun. Get in there and compete. There's going to be massive prizes for some of you. So let's move on to the model guidance, the European model, and we can see that minor to moderate snow system kind of coming to a close. And basically what we have on our doorstep is going to be a more moderate to major clipper system out there. Actually, we can see that taking place throughout a lot of the plains and Midwest here. We already did launch a contest for this snow system, so this is going to count towards the overall contest for the entire winter. So be sure to get in there. That contest actually closes, I think we said tomorrow night or tonight, I forget. So I think I'm one of those two, but be sure to join and get your amounts in for where you think is going to get the most snowfall. We could see that heavy areas in South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa. I happen to pick Hampton, Iowa as my selection, just in case you're curious. Nebraska there. All of these areas seeing some heavier snowfall. And it does lighten up a little bit as it moves down into Illinois, Indiana, some of southern Wisconsin. And there's been some recent model guidance that suggested that this one could pull kind of close to the northeast coast and intensify and bring some heavier snowfall for these areas. That has backed off a little bit for the beginning of next week, just a few days from now. We will see if that changes, but for now, that certainly has slowed down. And we do see some snow showers, I would say, for northern Pennsylvania into New York and New England, but it's not anything super substantial. We really have two pieces of energy here, and they are really far apart on this current model guidance, and that is the issue. There's plenty of cold. It's just not enough energy to get things really going. And we do even see some snowfall showers for North Carolina and Virginia as well. Meanwhile, by the time we're reaching Monday, Tuesday, we do see a more moderate clipper again. This one is impacting areas a little further northward, like northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin into Michigan here. We'll watch this one play out, and we see that that one is a moderate to heavy snowfall event, or I should say light to moderate, sorry, for those areas, very quick moving. And then we do see an even more major clipper system lining up. So this will be within 5 days, the third clipper that we're seeing. So this is a clipper heavy pattern, obviously, and this one's the most substantial so far. 991 there over North Dakota by Tuesday the 9th, just a few days from now. Still looking at this ridge out west, which is allowing for this cold to just kind of pour into the east. We're still seeing that a few days from now, and we're going to see it a lot longer than that. We do see heavy snowfall for Minnesota, Wisconsin into Michigan. This is very likely to be our next snowstorm contest after the one that's upcoming for Sunday. This one is going to be likely a heavy hitter for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan there, Ohio, Pennsylvania. And look at that. Into the northeast. We see this low is located there very close to Watertown, New York. And we do see some interior northeastern snowfall from this one. Now, if the trend starts to move south and this one moves offshore, You could look at a major snow system that does impact more coastal areas, but as of now, with only 5 to 6 days remaining until we see this one, the clock is ticking. We are going to continue to track it. That is a possibility, but certainly not a probability at this point, as most model guidance shows this one sitting over inland locations. Still a very, very heavy one for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Then we get another clipper. This one is happening Thursday the 11th, diving down, and we already see some snowfall starting out for the Dakotas, Minnesota, into the Midwest here. And as this one dives down, we see it get heavier and heavier down there for Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, some very similar areas here to our minor system we just saw. But then this one wants to swing around, and this is when you can get some really intense systems. And we do see heavy snowfall for West Virginia, a lot of Virginia, DC, Maryland, the Delmarva here. Certainly something to watch, and I know a lot of you in the Discord server have been kind of noting this time frame to watch for next Friday, a week from today. We'll continue to track that one. For now, this European model does slide it kind of straight offshore, which is going to exclude these areas on this particular solution because it's just not getting far enough northward. Now, if this one got a little bit more lift up the coast, all of a sudden it's game on for these Mid-Atlantic and southern New England areas where these coastal communities can really, really cash in. That one comes to a close. We're left with very cold air, and you could probably guess what comes next. Another clipper system. Heavy, heavy one for Minnesota and Wisconsin again. Likely, these heavier clippers is when you get the best chance of seeing like 6 inches or more. Typical clippers, you're looking at, 3 to 6 inches for a heavier location. They're very quick moving. Sometimes they can feature heavy snowfall, but typically very quick moving, and that's the problem. If you only see 6 hours of snowfall, it's really hard to get more than 6 inches. That would be over an inch per hour at certain points. So it takes very heavy snowfall to reach those totals. This will move straight over the Great Lakes. It does impact the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast as well. And we end up with very, very cold air during this Sunday the 14th. Monday the 15th time frame. And once we get this almost straight down jet stream, that does sort of shut down the clipper farm, if you will, that we've had set up. These clippers typically move in when you have a little bit of a softer entry into that trough, and you will see these northern jet systems ride along. We're going to see a little less of that activity, and you can see a lot of it just reverts up to Canada, where we see a lot of that activity. So we end up with a quieter period on this model run. From the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, we do see some passing snow showers. And then finally, for the 18th, this model does switch us into a warmer pattern in the east. If you've been taking notes, you would know that this really has been trying to be shown up on the models. We initially saw them showing a pattern change around the 8th. We now know that is not going to occur. They pushed it back to the 10th. The 12th, and now we're seeing some suggestions as far out as the 18th. So I would be very skeptical to believe in a pattern change in the long range because they've just been kicking the can further and further and further down the road. It doesn't seem like it's happening. Of course, it's possible. They will be right eventually. We're not going to be cold from now until March 1st. But it's hard to pinpoint an exact date when the models keep changing that exact date. That's my point. The GFS model here. As we kind of move through, we do see numerous clipper systems here as well. We also miss out on the Monday event. Again, 2 separate pieces of energy here, so great agreement between the European and GFS models. We do see that we do get a couple of clipper systems a little further to the north than we saw on the European model. This one, as soon as the Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe, 9th, 10th, we see moving mostly over the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes. And that one does bring some snowfall towards the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And it is worth noting we have this parent low here, but we do have a low trying to form offshore. This is a possibility that we see a lot of that energy transfer offshore. You see this sometimes, and then we get a primary low here. And again, that would favor the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. For now, we're not really seeing my model guidance fully suggest that, but they're kind of keeping the door slightly open for a possibility like that for later on next week. And there's still plenty of time for things to change, so we're still monitoring that one. Similarly to the European model, we kind of just get more and more intense with these clipper systems. For Thursday the 11th here, we see the northern plains, upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes, seeing a heavy hitter, and also that moves into the Northeast with some very, very cold air behind it. And then we kind of slow down with the clippers in the long range. We do end up seeing a little bit of a milder period here. after the 18th, but it's not nearly as mild as the European model. And I mean, really looking at the jet stream, I wouldn't even call this a pattern change. I mean, we still have the ridge in the west and a bit of a trough over the central and eastern states. It's just not quite as intense. We do slow down with the snowfall on both of these models, though. It is the long range. Things can change. We'll have to continue to see if we get the activity with the cold or if it's going to be a quieter cold period after we kind of exit this clipper pattern that we're stuck in for the next week or so. Now, total precipitation. The southern stream is mostly staying offshore, which is why we're not seeing massive snow systems, because we're certainly cold enough for most of the time over the next couple of weeks. That southern stream just isn't linking up perfectly. It's aggravating, I know. We do see plenty of activity moving onshore to the west, particularly the northwest, and this does move down the Rockies. A lot of these systems will kind of evolve as clippers that move through mostly like this. And we are seeing a lot of activity for the northern plains, Midwest, Great Lakes, into the northeast from that. So this is your general flow of storms, and I've been trying to do this daily for you guys. This is what I am seeing here on the models today. The anomalies, because of this, we do see some average to above average for offshore of the southeast, but a lot of the deep south, southeast, mid-Atlantic, and northeast are below average as far as precipitation. And the northwest into the north central is above average. And I gotta point out, guys, a little over a week ago, we were stuck in something that did not resemble a La Niña precipitation pattern at all. It was wet in the southwest, dry in the northwest, wet throughout the deep south and southeast, drier the further north you went. This has evolved over just about a week's time into a pattern that much, much more resembles a La Niña. So just want to kind of keep you guys up to date with that. We have seen a full flip into something that does, look like what we should be seeing. Just to point that out. Total snowfall in the European model, active in the mountainous west, at least average to above average. We see these clippers. You can literally see it on the snowfall chart, kind of how they're coming in. And that is going to benefit a lot of the areas west of the Appalachian Mountains. Once these weaker systems hit the Appalachian Mountains, first off, it's warmer near the coast, so we're struggling to get snowfall at all, but also a lot of the precipitation breaks down as it's trying to cross over those mountains. The only example we see of snowfall really reaching east of those Appalachian Mountains, besides Maine, where it's just, they're always going to be doing good, is Virginia here in a lot of the mid-Atlantic, where the European model did show a system breaking through, creating a moderate to even heavy snowfall event down there. So we're going to continue to monitor this. I think as long as we're in this stronger clipper pattern, we're going to basically need to be watching closely for anything that could try to become a Miller B nor'easter, which is a clipper that turns into a nor'easter halfway up the East Coast. These can be extremely heavy snow systems, and we do need to watch for that because we do have all the puzzle pieces there. They're just not fully coming together on today's model runs, much like yesterday's. The GFS model, even less of that activity near the East Coast. This one stays really true to the Appalachian Mountain Range westward here. So we see a lot of the interior mid-Atlantic, interior northeast, and then the Great Lakes, Midwest, Northern Plains seeing snowfall, even some of the central and southern plains. But it kind of ends there. The mountainous west for the Cascades and Rockies does nicely, but the Sierra Nevada, almost nothing on this GFS model. Crazy, crazy stuff. Now, as we take a look here at the temperature pattern, according to your European model, again, there is a pattern change in here. We see multiple major Arctic blasts, including one that's coming up for Sunday, moving in, Monday, the 8th here, Tuesday, the 9th. It's really, really cold along the eastern seaboard due to that. And then we see that one sort of weaken as the next one moves in. And that major one moves in and causes things to be cold for next weekend. Friday the 12th, Saturday the 13th. And then for Sunday the 14th, we already see another one moving in. And this time, it's even more major. Temperatures in those magentas are 25 degrees or more below normal. So if your average temperature was 50, you're at 25. Just to put it in perspective. And, the difference between how that feels is extreme. And your averages are probably much lower than 50 up there. So do the math. We do see as we move into Monday, the 16th, this does arrive for the east. And it does stick around for a while until midweek. And then it's around the 18th where we see that warm up start, and it is pretty intense. We only see that for the last few frames of the model run, and we do revert to a colder pattern in the west. But again, I would be skeptical for two reasons. It's been pushing it back consistently over the last week, and in addition to that, overall this is very, very far out as well. The GFS model, we see Arctic blast after Arctic blast, and we really don't see it fully end after the 18th. And the reason being is because we have this warmer air staying put for the west. So we know any Arctic intrusions are moving over top of that and will be headed eastward. So this is a completely different outcome. Although we do see warmer temperatures in the east for this particular frame, we know that there is more cold air down the pipeline on this particular model compared to the European model that looks a lot less optimistic. The ensemble models actually agree more with the GFS, even the European ensemble model that shows continued warmth here for the 10th through the 20th overall. Very warm out west, very cold in the east. No real signs of that changing here. So whenever a model disagrees with its ensemble model, that is 1 against like 20, just to put it in perspective. So we revert to what the ensemble models are showing in the long range a lot of the time, and that's going to bode very well for accuracy. So really good look here on the European ensemble model. The GFS ensemble model is in perfect agreement as well. So for now, this is an outlier, big time outlier. Now, with all that being said, be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.